And now, here's your host, Keith Funk, the Garden Wise Guy.
And a beautiful good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Garden Wise Show with Keith Funk. That's me. And sitting next to me is the talented and lovely Luann Aiken from Tagawa Gardens. Good morning, Luann.
I'm awake. How about you?
I'm trying really hard.
I noticed.
I'm really trying. But
we're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
I don't know. I'm not adjusting well to this. Still dark at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it's going to get darker yet.
Well, I was looking at the day length. We're down to 13 hours and 27 minutes. I know, right? And so we've lost a couple of hours already.
Yeah.
You know, the sunrise today was at 6:18. Sunset tonight is at 7:46.
Hi-ho.
And then we've got daylight savings coming up here in, what, a month or two?
The first week, or the last Sunday of October. We'll have to look that up somewhere in there.
Yeah. Anyway, it always comes up too soon. Good news is, though, the ET is down. It was up close to 2 inches a week, and we're down to 1.5 inches.
Okay.
At least down here in the southern part of the metro area. I get my information from the weather station at Centennial Airport.
And I think it was the south part of the metro that got a lot of rain.
Here and there.
Yeah. It's very localized.
Nick's got flooded.
Yeah.
They had to form human chains to get people across the river that was running into the entrance of the store, entrance of the whole facility from the parking lot. It was a river of water, and people were trapped on different sides and couldn't get out. And it was really, I see video of employees making this human chain, helping these customers get across this gush of water going through. And this was last Saturday.
Yeah.
And I had left at 2 o'clock that day.
Okay.
30 minutes later, this happens.
Yeah.
And I thought, I got messages from the employees there saying, oh, it's terrible, it's just awful. And I thought, I go to work Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, and I'm thinking the place is just going to be a disaster area, and it didn't look like anything ever happened. Yeah. They worked so hard to clean everything up. It was pristine.
Did the parking lot funnel everything?
Yes. There is a drainage area. They have that collects all the water from the parking lot, and there's a drain that's supposed to take it away, but it just couldn't keep
Overpowered.
up. Yeah, just couldn't keep up.
No, it's just, you hear the gym I go to had 3 inches of water throughout the gym,
Oh.
and an intersection just below had 3 feet of water in it.
And some areas had to bring the snowplows out because of the hail.
Yeah.
And then in my area in Centennial, which is much farther west, like at University and Dry Creek, that area, dry as a bone.
Yeah, that's why I said
Maybe a
it's
little sprinkle.
real spotty.
Yeah.
But where it lands with vengeance.
It does. And you're tempted to say, okay, well, we had 1.5 inches of ET over the week, but we got an inch of rain, in 10 minutes. Well, you really can't count that whole inch because most of it ran off. It didn't soak in.
Another point that I realized, because we had a couple of decent rains, not jungle rain, but if you have a really full flush container, the rain doesn't help because it doesn't get to the soil.
It acts like an umbrella.
Yeah.
And the same with trees.
Yes.
Especially pines, all those evergreens, pines, juniper, spruces, firs, they act like an umbrella, and it's called a rain shadow.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen the same thing happen in the winter with a snow shadow. We have a snowstorm, and we get 4 or 5 inches of rain, and you look outside, and there's no snow underneath the pines and the spruces. Well, it's dry there.
So check your containers. It's just bouncing off of everywhere if it's really full.
It just sheds. It just sheds the water off. Yep. So that's unfortunate, but
we can do it. We can manage.
It has been nice. I've noticed a reduction in my need for watering in the yard, but also especially in the containers. I haven't had to water nearly as often or as much.
And you have a lot of shade too that afternoon.
It's moving shade,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So parts of it get sun and then some shade, and that helps a lot. But anyhow, this is a garden show.
Oh, yeah. we
As you
forgot
could tell.
to mention that.
And the way a garden show works is that you guys out there give us a call on the phone at 303-477-2473, or you can text. That's what
Yes,
it is. It's text. Got to get the right verbiage here, or whatever. 303-477-5600, and you can text a picture while you're doing that. If you want to have us take a look at what you're looking at, it makes it much easier to dial in rather than a verbal description. We can see an actual picture. So Joe has already dialed in this morning on the phone. Good morning, Joe.
Morning. I have questions about 2 plants. I have 3 blueberry plants.
Yes.
One died over the summer. And should I replace that one now or wait till spring?
Container or in the ground?
Container.
You're growing
Yeah.
them in containers.
Mm-hmm.
That's great because they like a very acidic soil, and a very, very, very small percentage of people on the Front Range have an acidic soil.
Yeah.
Most
I've
of it.
added that soil acidifier.
Yeah. Do you have any idea why it died?
Well, this is the one plant that was in the old bed that wasn't doing well, so I got 2 new ones. Decided to really do the soil like it should be in these big kind of like Rubbermaid containers.
Okay.
And so the 2 new ones look good. The one I transplanted in from the old bed is the one that died.
Okay. So
I
you're
didn't know to replant it now, or just wait till spring to put a new one in.
now is a great time to replant. I love fall planting for not only blueberries, but for pretty much anything. The top growth is pretty much done for the year, so there's very little stress on the root system this time of year, so that the plant can really focus on putting out new roots, and it'll continue growing their root systems well into October, November, until the soil really freezes. Even if the plant has gone completely dormant up top, lost all of its leaves, the roots are still active. So you're going to have to make sure, especially on the new ones, to make sure you do some winter watering on a regular basis. With blueberries in particular, they do not like to dry out ever, ever, ever.
And also, since they're in containers and above ground, am I gonna, or should I, really put something like big bales of mulch or something around those containers to protect them from the cold weather?
Yeah, I would recommend there's 2 ways you can go. You can do that, just fill some trash bags full of leaves and pack those around the container. I would use a bungee cord once you've done that to kind of wrap or some twine or something like that, just to hold the bags in place around so that they don't blow around. And that will mitigate the temperature swings somewhat. What I do with my containers is I just move all my containers up against a north wall.
Yeah, I can't move these.
Okay, all right.
So, and I have some extra bags of that just brown wood mulch, you put on top of the ground.
Yeah.
Would those act as a decent insulation to put around them?
Leave them in the bags, right?
Leave them in the
And
bags,
just
yeah.
stack the bags around.
Right.
Yeah, that would work just fine as an extra insulation.
Okay. Anything else I should put on top of the ground? I mean, I'm not worried about snow falling, but cold temperatures on the top area or around the roots or
You can
stem.
put a light mulch.
Okay.
You know,
I've been
ma-
using that soil pep.
Yeah, that's lovely. You don't need to use more than about an inch.
Okay. But it looks like it dries out fast. From what I notice, it looks nice and I like it, but it just looks dry frequently on top. And I've been watering every 2 to 3 days.
Well, the mulch, whatever you use, whether it's soil pep or cedar mulch or wood chips, the surface of those is going to dry out very quickly. But it's underneath that you need to check.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's what the mulch is doing, is helping hold the moisture in that soil underneath the mulch.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if the mulch dries out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, one more question. I bought a little Japanese maple in a pot. It's about 3 feet tall, and I don't know exactly where I should plant it in the ground. So could I overwinter it in the pot by sinking that down in the dirt in the garden or in compost and watering it, of course? But I don't think they like full sun, and the place I had a little rock garden, Japanese rock garden started, is on the south side and gives a lot of sun. So I thought rather than putting it someplace that won't be good for it, if I could overwinter it in the pot without planting it in the ground somewhere.
Dicey.
It's dicey. Yeah.
Dicey?
Yeah. Japanese maples are what I would consider marginally hardy here.
Yeah.
Especially the varieties. I mean, there's one called Bloodgood that does fairly well here in just the right spot. If you're off by a couple of inches, it's going to be unhappy, you know.
Okay.
So I do know a lot of people, well, some people, who will go ahead and plant their Japanese maple in a decorative pot, and then during the winter, once it's lost its leaves, they move it into their garage.
Really?
Because it doesn't need any light once it's lost its leaves.
Oh, I would have thought
and
they
then-
would have needed a little bit
A little bit of what?
sunlight.
Nope, not really. No, they're dormant pretty much, and so the only thing they need while they're in the garage is to make sure that they're watered occasionally because they're going to dry out in a container, even in the winter, and so you don't want them to go bone dry. But that's one way to winter them over, and then you'll want to move them out of the garage, more than likely in early to mid-March, depending on the weather. You want to try to get it out of the garage before it starts to come out of dormancy.
Yeah. Okay. And if I think that's a good idea to put it in a big decorative pot. The pot it's in is fairly small, maybe, I don't know, 8 or 10 inches. 8. Should I go ahead and put it in a larger, like nursery pot, those black ones, and then into a even bigger decorative pot?
What do you think, Luann?
I'm worried about how heavy the decorative pot plus tree is going to
Yeah.
be if you can move that.
Well, I'll get somebody to help me
Okay.
if necessary. But would that be a good idea to go ahead and give the roots a little more space and a little bit bigger with those black pots before I put it in the decorative one?
yeah, if you could move it up into maybe a 12-inch pot.
Okay.
You don't want to go up
Good.
too much.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of root growth over the winter, do you?
Okay.
Yeah,
Some?
yeah, as long as the soil doesn't freeze, you're going to get some root growth, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then what soil do you recommend? I mean, nothing acidic necessarily, right? But just good garden soil?
Neutral to acidic is good. I like the Fertilome Ultimate Potting Soil.
Okay.
I also like the Pro Mix. That's a nice one. It's got extra perlite in it for extra drainage. And usually with the Fertilome one even, I'll add extra perlite to it just to give it some more drainage. You could look at Fox Farm has one called Happy Frog. It's a silly name, a cute
Good
package.
soil.
Good soil. Very good soil.
Happy farm.
Yeah.
Happy frog.
Happy Frog
Happy
from
Frog.
Fox Farm.
Yeah.
Fox farm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
those would be 3 that I would consider looking at. Yeah.
Do you want her to water the tree in the garage until water comes out the bottom, or just keep it evenly moist?
Till water comes out the bottom, but not to sit in a saucer
No,
of
to
water.
sit. That was where I was
Yeah.
going with that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe once a month.
Really?
But it's just going to be a matter of you sticking your finger in
Yeah.
the ground and see what the moisture level is like a few inches down.
Okay. Okay, well, those were my 2 big questions about plants, so thank you for your help.
You're welcome. Thanks
Take
for
care.
calling this morning, Joe. So, yeah, Japanese maples are a little tricky here, especially those really fine leaf, lacy ones, because of our lack of humidity.
Yeah.
Those things have a tendency,
Yeah.
even in the shade, to crisp out.
And my husband Skip is dying to get one, and I keep going.
You know, I've tried and tried with Japanese maples. I don't know how many I bought and killed. So I've stopped.
Yeah. Lesson learned.
Lesson learned. I do have a Japanese maple, Korean maple hybrid. Now, see, Japanese maples are usually like a zone 6.
Okay.
I think there's a couple of varieties like Bloodgood that's rated at zone 5. But, Kansas City, Kansas is rated at zone 5. And that's a completely different climate
Yeah.
than we have.
Yeah.
So you can't compare just the zone number. You also have to look at what's the altitude, what's the humidity, what's the natural rainfall, what's, all these different things that go into growing plants. So the Korean maple is a zone 4, and it is from a mountainous region. And so they've hybridized this thing. There's a whole series of them out there. And right off the top of my head, I'm having a hard time coming up with the name. But you can go into they're fairly common in the garden centers. This time of year, they might be a little scarce.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to think. Call first if you're
Call first, yeah.
and just see.
But just tell the nursery person, and don't ask the cashier.
Right.
Go out into the nursery, find a nursery person, say, do you have any Korean Japanese maple hybrids? And the Korean part of it gives it extra hardiness.
Cold hardiness.
And more adaptability, and the Japanese maple part of it gives it the more Japanese maple look. Doesn't look exactly like a Japanese maple, but close enough for me. And you still get the lovely fall color. You get the beautiful spring color when the new growth comes out, bright red, and then it turns green over the summer.
What about size comparisons?
The one I planted, the variety I planted, is supposed to get 10 to 12 feet tall. But I'm thinking that might be for a milder climate than we have.
Not here.
Not here. A lot of those sizes. I'll take 15 to 20% off the height. Just as a general rule on some of those more exotic type plants. Speaking of exotic type plants,
You're looking at me.
I have a Catalpa, which is a Chelopsis, a desert willow, crossed with a catalpa tree.
Do you get the pods?
No pods, oddly enough, but it's in full bloom right now, and it just keeps producing more flowers through the summer. And I'm growing it in a pot, and it made it through the winter in a pot last winter, but it was an unusually warm winter. So we'll see what happens this year. But it is spectacular. I plan on posting some pictures of it on my Facebook page for the show here. So it's an unusual thing to cross those two together. I wonder who came up with that brilliant idea.
Some mad scientist. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I was at the Botanic Gardens, and they have some actual Chelopsis trees growing there that are, 12 feet tall or more in bloom right now.
Outdoors.
Okay. Along the south side of the conservatory.
Okay.
There are several of them there, along with bird of paradise shrubs, not the bird of paradise tropical plant that you think of as a cut flower, but this is a bird of paradise shrub. And Cisalpinia, for those of you who would recognize that, blooming and beautiful and large and gorgeous. But that's the Botanic Gardens. They're very protected there. I think
full-time team of
they do.
nannies.
But even the nannies can't control the weather.
This is true.
But they're in a location here in the Denver metro area, surrounded by a lot of building and roads and so forth, and it really moderates
The heat
the
sink.
climate.
Yeah.
In that particular location. So I would consider them a strong Zone 6 area there, even in the middle of Denver.
How long have you had this plant?
I bought it last year at Nick's.
Chelopsis.
Catalpa.
Catalpa.
Yeah, it's a Chelopsis Catalpa cross.
Okay.
So it's called a Catalpa.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's fun. I don't expect it to survive for very many years. There's going to be a winter that's going to take it out.
Yeah.
But until then, It's kind of fun.
Okay.
It's on my patio, and it's blooming along with the hydrangeas right now.
And something special
pink.
to have that kind of fall bloom, not fall,
Late summer.
late summer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, we're a little late for a break, so we're going to come back after a quick message here from our sponsors. You're listening to the GardenWise Show on Legends 810. All right, we are back to the GardenWise Show. And by the way, you know, this show is always up. I always post this as a podcast on the internet. Most any podcast platform will have it. We're also broadcasting live on Facebook right now, so you could go to our Facebook page, The GardenWise Show, and watch Luann and me right now.
Pretty stimulating stuff.
It is.
Watching us.
Yeah, we're so energetic. I'm in the middle of calisthenics right now. Let's see, what else? So there's always a link in these places that you can, live links that you can click on for the website, which is GardenWiseGuy.com. Sign up for my newsletter. You can get that every month. There's a link for Instagram and TikTok and my Shopify store. All those sorts of things are linked at the podcasts and on the Facebook page.
How about a link for breakfast?
Sausage link?
That could be. That could be.
There you
You're
go.
ahead of me.
Yeah, right. No doubt.
All right.
So, yeah, be sure and check that out. I'd love to see all of you guys sign up for the newsletter. It's free, and it just comes out on a monthly basis. It just drops right into your email. And no, we don't let anybody else have your email. So
Never,
don't worry
ever.
about that. That's very well protected. So we've got some text messages here, but until we get some phone calls, which is 303-477-2473 is the phone number. Let's go see what's going on with Nancy in Fort Collins. Good morning to the GardenWise Show. Last week you mentioned putting a systemic on the trunk of an ash tree that has sap oozing out. Could you name the product, please? Thank you. I think you're confusing two separate issues that we were talking about last week. One of them was emerald ash borer on ash trees, and they do create a little hole in the side of the tree, and the diagnostic for that little hole is that it's D-shaped. It's flat on one side, which distinguishes it from pretty much any other borer that hits an ash tree. So that if you have a D-shaped hole, little hole, looks like a BB-sized hole. It's
Only
not very
flat
big,
on one side.
but it's flat on one side. That could be the indication that you have emerald ash borer. The sap oozing out was when we were talking about pinyon pines. That are in an area that may be getting overwatered or too much shade. They get stressed, they get pinyon borer, and the borer goes into the side of the tree, and the tree, like all conifers, want to push that pest out by pushing out a lot of sap. And so you get these big globs of sap on the side of your pinyon pine tree. And both of these issues can be taken care of with a systemic called Fertilome Tree and Shrub Soil Drench. And this is something that you put on the ground. You mix it in a bucket and you pour it around the base of the tree in about a 1.5 to 2 foot radius all around the base of the tree, which is counterintuitive.
Absolutely. I was going to bring that up.
Yes,
Yeah.
because we always say when you water out toward the drip line of the tree where all the feeder roots are. But this particular product can penetrate those bigger roots.
Mature roots. Yeah.
In fact, there's even a concentration that the professional uses that they just spray directly on the tree trunk,
Okay.
and it goes in through the bark. Not something that you can buy over the counter, unfortunately.
Okay.
So if you want that kind of treatment, or you you have a large tree, and I'm talking ash trees that are over a foot and a half diameter, I would recommend, if you're worried about emerald ash borer, which has pretty much been found all over the metro area now, is to have a professional do it.
To make it most effective.
To make it most effective, and they have a chemical that you can't get that will last for 2 years. The Fertilome Systemic, which I recommend you can do yourself on smaller trees, younger trees, say trees that are, 20 years old or less. You can do this yourself, and with this Fertilome product, the Tree and Shrub Soil Drench, and it will last for a year. And this is a very good time to use it. I like using it in the late summer, especially on those larger trees, because it takes a while for the tree to pick up the product and then carry it up the tree trunk and get all the way to the tippy top of the plant. But you're most likely trying to just protect the main trunk area. And it rises up the tree roughly a foot a day.
That's really pretty impressive.
Yes. So putting it on in the late summer and the fall, that way your tree is fully protected by the time spring rolls around. And like I said, it lasts for a year, so you don't have to do it again till next fall.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah.
Good.
The thing I like about it is that you don't have to be spraying something up in the air, because usually ash trees are
That's
nice
tough.
and big, and you don't want to be trying to shoot something way up in the air and then the drift
Over your
falling
head and
on you and falling on surrounding plants and things like that,
Yeah.
where pollinators are important. So
Right. And
that is
I don't know if the tree companies would. They have much more powerful sprayers than people trying to
right.
spray.
But this is a product that's not sprayed. It's either applied as
Always
an
inject.
injection
Okay.
in the tree trunk, in the root system, or as a spray directly applied to the trunk
To
of
the
the tree.
trunk, okay.
Not way up in the air. So I know Devon has 2 big ash trees in her yard that she treats every 2 years. She has a company come in, and she says it costs her for the 2 trees $500
Every other year.
Every other year. So that's $250 a year, essentially.
Yeah, but I think she said those ash trees are really pivotable. Pivotable?
Pivotable? No, they don't pivot.
Pivot are essential to her yard as a whole.
Exactly. They're large, they're old, they shade her house.
Yeah.
They're valuable trees to her. So that's something that you might consider doing, but especially if you have a young tree, you can do it yourself.
That you can do yourself.
Yeah, and it's not just for ash trees. You can use it on your pinyon pine if you have pinyon borer. You can or pine tip moth on your pines or pinyons. You can use it on roses, on other types of trees and shrubs that have problems with things like aphids or scale. It works on all of those things. The one thing you'll want to know, especially if you're going to use it on your own tree, is the circumference, not the diameter. Is the circumference around the outside of the tree in inches. So take a sewing tape measure out, or take a piece of string and
About chest high?
about chest height, yes, and measure around the tree to see how many inches that is, because that will determine how many ounces of product you need to buy. And I think one of the worst issues I find with people is that they don't know, so I think, well, I'll just take this quart size when they actually needed the gallon. And then they don't put down enough, and so it's not effective.
Have you seen any resistance or heard about any resistance for the
I have
sprays
not yet, but
in-
I fully expect that to happen
over time?
over time.
Okay.
Yeah, bugs do develop a resistance to, just like antibiotics. If you use them often enough, you're going to develop a resistance. So that can always happen. And I'm sure the industry out there is going to make adjustments for that as it starts to appear. But I haven't, they've had it on the East Coast, west or east of the Mississippi for decades now. And I haven't heard of them changing
The formula.
their procedures yet.
All right.
All right.
Good. Good.
So you brought us some really disgusting looking tomatoes.
You can count on me for
Yes.
the disgusting element.
We can't.
Yeah.
No, it's not something I would want to eat.
I texted you midweek out of frustration with my own tomato crop. So I said, can we please do a tomato themed? Because you're trying to have some themes
Yes,
in the show.
I am. Uh-huh.
In addition to everything else. So yeah, I want to get on my soapbox and point out some do's and don'ts and why and how the heck did that happens.
Well, soapbox away.
Okay. I planted 20 tomato plants in my raised beds. Now, as an interesting aside, my buddy Tom at Tagawa's, where I work, had one raised bed identical to mine and this is its third season.
Oh, okay.
And then he got another raised bed that was exactly the same, and he has seen in the raised bed that has the more mature soil, if you where
Mm-hmm.
he's added, organic material and such, the plants are doing very much better than they are in the first year bed.
And that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it really does, because I'm sure there's more worm activity and such.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that
More
my beds-
microbial activity,
Yeah, exactly,
all those types
exactly.
of things
So
that make a
that's-
healthy live
that's
soil.
just- right.
Yeah.
But of my 20 plants, a whole bunch of them got tomato spotted wilt virus, because I am near a pasture where the thrips thrive. I'm having a hoot today.
Yeah.
Where the thrips thrive. Not everybody
That's
has
a book.
that.
Where the thrips thrive.
Yeah,
It's like
not
where
a
the
romance,
crawdads sing,
probably
but
not.
where the
Yeah.
thrips thrive.
Not a romance, but
Yeah.
so that got me thinking about what other problems people might have, and we can talk about some of the splitting and the blossom end rot and all that. But one point I really want to make is we are now, in the latter part of August.
Yes.
I mean, fall. Labor Day is what, 2 weeks away or
I
something
know,
really
I
ridiculous.
know.
This is the time to go out and pinch the blossoms, remove the of tomato plants and other plants
Mm-hmm.
that have no chance in the world of maturing before our first frost, which on average is October 3rd. So get out there, get rid of that fruit, get rid of the blossoms, tomatoes, you said pumpkins, other things that take a little time to mature.
Long maturing
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Get rid of those so that the plant is focusing on maturing the fruit that's already has some size to it,
Yes.
that stands a chance.
And I'm going to make a point here that a lot of the information you read online says to cut the tops out of your tomatoes so that they stop producing new tomatoes this time of year. I'm going to sort of counter that with cut the flowering stems off, but leave the foliage. The foliage is the power plant. And if you're cutting foliage off your plant, you're reducing its ability to grow the tomatoes that you still have and to ripen them. And the worst thing you can possibly do is to start cutting leaves off your tomato plants. I've seen where they recommend these garden experts, and this might work in South Carolina, but not here in Denver, is going through and just thinning out all the tomato foliage so that the fruit is exposed to the sun to make it ripen faster. And the sun has absolutely nothing to do with ripening tomato fruit.
Right.
It's temperature.
Right.
So I've learned over the years, leave that canopy alone so that the plant can do what it needs to do to get that fruit up to size and ripening size and ability. And as soon as you start to see some color on that fruit, I don't wait until it's fully red.
Yeah.
If there's a good blush to the fruit, a good color starting to turn, I'll pick them then and bring them inside, put them in a warm room out of direct sunlight, and let them ripen inside. They taste absolutely just the same, and you don't have to worry about squirrels and birds and anything like that pecking holes or taking one bite or stealing your fruit altogether
Yeah.
by leaving them on there until they're
Yeah.
ripe.
There's been a lot of research, and we can bring this back up. I know we're getting a lot of texts and a couple of calls here about how the tomatoes mature and when the mother plant kind of shuts off and the tomato shuts off its dependence on the mother plant.
Yeah.
And it's not when it's fully red. It's when it's got that half blush,
Yeah.
half of the desired color, whether it's red or yellow or whatever. And why let that sit there on the plant when things could be better? And my big problem is bird strikes,
Yes.
pecks.
Yeah,
'Cause
and a
they
lot of other
see-
people are squirrels.
They see the red. They
Uh-huh.
see it.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I put like a little straw over the ones that aren't quite ready to pull,
Yeah.
just to try to disguise them. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of things I'd like to get onto the table here this morning.
Okay,
before
we will
before
do that.
leave. Okay.
All right.
Cool.
We've got to take our second break of the hour here. I just want to remind you all, you're listening to the GardenWise Show, and this is Legends 810. All right, we've got to get out to the phones here on the GardenWise Show, and I believe we have Steve out in Denver on the phone right now. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
What's going on with your bad self today?
Well, I have a couple questions.
Okay, good.
One, since it just came up using the soil drench, I have a pretty large blue spruce, and it's right at the edge of what is too big to do yourself. But I use the soil drench kind of early in the spring.
Okay.
And just based on what you just said, is it worthwhile to do it again now so that I'm on a fall schedule, or is that just a waste of the material?
It's not a waste. But first tell me what you're treating for. What is it about the spruce tree that needs to be treated?
Just fear.
Fear, okay.
Good motivator.
Yeah, because, you know, this particular product does work on things like Ips beetle, turpentine beetle, pine
Right,
beetle.
it's whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever might be around.
Right. It does not work on spider mites. So I do know that spruce trees can get spider mites, and so this systemic does not affect spider mites whatsoever. In fact, there is research that says it makes it worse because the systemic kills off the natural predators of the spider mites, so the spider mites can multiply even faster. So don't use it for mites. But for bark boring beetles, it's excellent. And there's nothing wrong with putting it down a second time. It won't hurt the tree. Now, I like I said, I like the fall application because it gives that tree a good 6 months to get that product all the way to the tippy top of a large tree.
Right. I just heard it elsewhere, but especially on your show, about all the threats people are concerned about with the conifers.
Yes. And, you know, our conifers down here, with the reduced watering that we're doing, they're suffering. And just because they're a conifer doesn't mean they're a low water tree. When you see them up in the mountains, they're growing in places natively that get far more moisture than we do down here. Otherwise, they'd be native down here. They'd have been growing here, 100 years ago, and they weren't.
Not too many things are.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And thank you. My other question is, all year I have noticed a weedy grass that I never really noticed before. In my front yard, I have a lot of bare soil because I've been working very slowly on the sprinkler lines.
Okay.
So there is exposed soil, and there have been a ton of these kind of broadleaf grasses. Like I say, I do not recall this ever before, and I've seen a lot around the neighborhood. I had my front lawn taken out this year, wrong year to do it, because of the new plantings need water.
They do,
but
yes.
In that new planting area that's getting watered with permission from Denver Water, there's just a ton more of these grasses. And the ones that I haven't gotten around to until they're bigger, they've developed their seed heads and they look like foxtail. And I just haven't ever noticed that before. I wondered if there was something, if that was something other people have been experiencing in the area.
Well, what's happening?
About that.
What's happening with you, Steve, is that you've disturbed the soil. And there's a bank of seed in that soil that's just waiting for its chance in the sun. And that's what you've given it. So that seed was more than likely already there, and you just brought it to the surface where it could germinate and not be crowded out by a lawn or other plants.
but I see it every place else too in the
Yeah.
neighborhood. I understand. I'm
Yeah.
a setup for it, but I had never noticed this type of grass before.
Yeah. It's
So that's
if it's
nothing
foxtail,
that
it's an
is-
annual. It's going to die over the winter. You can put down a pre-emergent
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
spring, but if you want to, I would recommend pulling up a few of those plants, especially if any of them look different from one another, and taking it into a garden center you trust or your local extension office, and have them identify them so that you know whether you're dealing with an annual grass or a perennial grass, because they're treated differently.
Okay.
It's always nice
As
to
it
know
is
what
now,
you've got.
I'm just trying to pluck all these up out of the new area.
Yeah, when they're
There is
small,
a ton.
just hoeing them off at the soil surface basically is all you have to do. What you don't want is you don't want to leave them in there so long that, like you said, they're starting to produce seed pods and giving you fresh seed to come up next year.
Okay, but so this isn't a phenomenon or anything.
No.
Because again, I'm seeing them everywhere
Yeah.
in the alleys and the yards around me.
No apocalypse involved.
No.
Okay. Not
I noticed this was
time.
a particularly bad year for cheatgrass in my neighborhood. It's coming up in everybody's rock beds. It's coming up in every crack in the sidewalk, in the gutters, in the middle of the street. And it's just been a really good year for cheatgrass in my neighborhood.
Okay, just something to deal with.
Just something to deal with. Colorado doesn't like you to rest on your laurels. You just got to always be out there doing something.
I have very few, yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot. Have
Good
a
luck.
good weekend.
You bet, Steve. You too. Thanks for calling. Luann, we got to get back to your tomato issues here, but let's get another caller out
Absolutely.
here. We've got Katie waiting to talk to us. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning. How is everybody?
Fine. How is Boulder?
It's doing great. But we didn't get as much rain as you guys did, but we didn't get hail either. So
Yeah.
Always good.
Yeah, that's always good.
yes. So I sent you a couple photos of things that are doing well in my garden because I want to talk to you guys about long blooming vines or succession vine blooming.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been taking your advice, Keith, listening to you, and I do know I have a lot of type 3 clematis, so I brought some more type 2 clematis, thinking, I'll get a little more clematis
Okay.
bloom. And I have 3 favorite long blooming clematis, and one I text to you about my little Durante that blooms till June, and Ruguchi and San Maimee also blooms for a long time.
I like the Raguchi. I'm growing that one this year too, and it just has bloomed all summer. And I'm growing it in a container on an obelisk. And
Oh, that'll look good. That would
and
look good.
it's just adorable. But it's not like your typical clematis. It's more of a bell-shaped flower.
Yes.
But a beautiful
Yes.
blue, and it's
and
just
also
adorable.
The bell shape are the longer blooming. The San Maime's bell shape, and the Durante is also bell shape.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, are there any other clematis that are now blooming in your garden that are not those bell shape?
My sweet autumn clematis is already budded up, and I expect to have flowers open within the next week.
Yes, I have that too. And I put sometimes the purple morning glories with it, so I get blooms before it, because
Sure.
it's so that's an idea. Any other good clematis that you also recommend?
Boy, that's a good question. There's one called Sweet Summer Love.
Sweet Summer Love.
Yeah, it looks like a Jackmanii, but much smaller flowers in clusters. And
okay, I'm gonna get that.
it's an extremely vigorous vine.
Vigorous is okay. Vigorous is okay.
But it does bloom on and off throughout the summer. So it will start blooming early in the year, and then it sort of takes a little rest, then it comes back and blooms some more, and then it takes a little rest, and then it comes back and blooms some more. And the one thing I like about it is it's fragrant.
Oh, okay. Okay. I like that. You know, one of the things I've found, which I normally don't like to do, sometimes my type 3, they get that wilt. So I end up having to cut to the ground, and then I lose the privacy. That's the reason why I have a vine, is for privacy.
Yeah.
But it'll grow back, but it'll bloom again if I give that drastic hard prune for type 3, which is kind of drastic.
One of the things I like to recommend, and this is something I learned just recently in the past few years, with clematis, when you do plant them deep.
Yes.
Plant them so that where the root system joins the stem is several inches below ground, which is not what you'd expect. You know, most plants don't like that. But with clematis, it's a nice insurance policy against that wilt disease that sometimes will hit them.
I do that. Plant them very deep. That and roses, which I don't add anymore. But good point for all our listeners. Clematis, tomatoes, roses, typically wants to plant them deep.
Yeah, there are certain plants that will benefit from that. And it's so easy anymore to get on the internet and just research it. If you're getting a new plant and you're not exactly sure, just Google it and find a reputable site. I usually try to look for university or botanic gardens sites to look at the research that they're doing.
And make that research information local, at least applicable to our clients.
Yeah, as applicable as possible. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. So any annual vines? Because I like the cardinal vine.
Cardinal vine's great, yeah, and some of the climbing nasturtiums.
Climbing nasturtium, I didn't think about that. Okay.
Scarlet runner beans put on a good show for the hummingbirds.
Yeah.
Oh, scarlet red bean. Okay,
and then that
good.
purple hyacinth bean, too.
Yeah.
Oh, I have the purple hyacinth. Oh, that's really pretty now. Yeah, I'm always thinking of ideas, because my type 3 and sometimes my type 2, they just give you that bloom from June, July, and then dun. So I'm trying to find something else to go in front of it.
Yeah, I find that the type 2 and 3 that it takes them 3 to 5 years.
It does.
Before they're ready to actually perform at their full potential and give you that later flowering.
Yes, that's an awfully long time for us.
I know. I don't like waiting that long.
I do not. and sometimes it takes 5 years to realize it's just not working.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Good ideas about the different annuals and tips on clematis. And thank you very much, you two.
Take
You're
care.
welcome. Thanks for calling this morning, Katie.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
All right, tomatoes. Let's get back to the tomatoes you've got over there.
Do you really want me to bring them over?
Yeah. Well, we got to talk about this grossness.
I left most of the... Okay, so I have in front of me here an assortment of fairly disgusting tomatoes for all of you on Facebook. Probably seeing a lot of concentric splits on tomatoes now because we were so dry for so long, and those of you who got drenching rains, and the tomatoes basically kind of bust their britches.
They do, yeah.
And so it can be a radial crack from the stem down, which are deeper and tend to have a greater chance of introducing bacteria and diseases and things. And once that happens, I'm sorry, I'm making noise here. They will start to rot.
Yeah, let me hold that up.
Yeah.
So you can see here this tomato with the cracks from the stem down, and then there's just rot starting to show up.
Yeah.
And that tomato, you could probably find some edible parts, but I don't think I'd want to try.
There's also concentric circles.
Yes.
Rings, and they're both kind of the same cause. All this, dry and then suddenly wet. You can't do much to stop the rain, not that you would want to, but just even moisture as much as you can.
Exactly.
So it's not taking it in big doses.
And this can be especially true in container-grown plants.
Absolutely. Because it's a lot easier for them to totally dry out.
Exactly.
Another thing I'm seeing is bird pecks.
Bird pecks.
See, like this?
Yeah.
Although there's zippering on this guy. I don't know if you can see that. That's pretty thin. Zippering has to do with temperatures at pollination time.
Okay.
And things kind of stick together, and then you get this weird-looking it looks just like a zipper.
It does look like a zipper, yeah.
And sometimes in that zipper you can get holes, but I think that's a bird peck, and that's another reason to harvest them before they're fully red.
Now that, to me, is still a perfectly edible
Yeah.
tomato.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was one other thing I was going to talk about?
Blossom
Indrot,
Yeah.
probably the most common. I'm sure I have one of those around here somewhere in this disgusting
To
library.
the left of your bird peck,
To the left of my bird peck.
in the
Oh,
corner.
Yeah.
There.
Oh, God, they smell. I'm going to have to run these out to the restaurant. So you can see the blossom indrot, and that generally has to do with uneven watering again.
Yes.
And just as the tomato is forming, the cells here don't get enough water, and they don't grow properly, and then you get this disgusting parchment black. It can have different appearances.
Yeah.
But as you can see, this guy here, he's glistening because he's juicy and he's rotten and he's disgusting, and I can't believe I actually brought it in.
I can smell it from here.
I know.
But blossom indrot is also, can be from a lack of calcium in the soil, which is usually more of a problem with container-grown plants in potting soil. Not so much of plants grown in the ground. Our soils here usually have plenty of calcium, but if the water's not there, the plant can't pick it up.
A lot of it goes back to watering.
So, and if you're using container-grown plants, you want to make sure you're using a tomato food that has the extra calcium added to it.
And you like that blossom spray.
Yeah, the high yield yield booster.
Yield booster, yeah.
Yeah, yield
So-
booster. Okay, that music means we got to get out of here for a little bit and do a little station identification. It's very short, so don't go too far away. Just go get yourself a new pot of coffee, or a pitcher of coffee, or a mimosa, maybe a Bloody Mary. That
I
sounds
love
pretty
Bloody
good.
Marys.
That would be good. You're listening to the GardenWise Show here on Legends 810.
And now, here's your host, Keith Funk, the Garden Wise Guy.
That would be me. Welcome back to the GardenWise Show. Thank you for staying with us. And as you notice, Luann's chair is empty right now. She got some tomato ickiness on her hands, and she's so girly she can't just wipe them on her pants. She's got to go wash her hands. So I would just wipe them on my pants or my vest or something and be good with it. But
I can wipe my hands on your pants, but I don't think Retha would appreciate that.
that would be awkward. It would definitely be awkward. But what's not awkward is to going out and talking to Betsy at Jared's Garden Center. Good morning, Betsy.
Good morning. How's your life been going since I never listen to you guys anymore on my phone?
You don't listen?
I can't. I have no service coming down 74 from Evergreen to Morrison.
Oh.
It's the world's deadest zone in the world.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I don't know what happened. It's like everything just stopped working.
Although I would imagine
Technology.
there's a certain percentage of the population would probably actually like that, not
Yeah,
having
sure.
service, so people would just leave them alone.
Yeah, my husband's one of those. But
Oh,
he's
is
a
it?
hermit in training.
Well, what's going on at Jared's? We're getting close to pumpkin time.
We are. Pumpkin Way Off will be the last Saturday of September, so we're just 5 weeks away from that.
Yeah.
Lovely festival that we have. So
Exactly.
We're kind of excited. It's going to be a little more low key this year, just because it's so godly hot on that day anymore.
Well, how the have you gotten any feedback from the growers as how they're doing this year?
No, I haven't. I should probably put a little call into the gentleman that grows on our property and see how the silent growing is going right now. So I will ask Jim. He always shows up at Nick's also with a water pumpkin. So we'll see what.
I know some of the guys at Nick's have planted pumpkins in between some of the rows of B&B trees.
Oh, really?
And they've got some good-sized pumpkins going. It's kind of fun. They're so proud of them.
Well, and they, since you have to water the trees, the pumpkins are going to get water.
Exactly.
Whereas,
Right.
If you're not paying attention, you look out there and they look like, oh my gosh, they are wilted today.
Yeah. Now I did have to tell them that if you want really big pumpkins, you have to cut all the extra pumpkins off the vine, and just relegate, one pumpkin per vine branch to get the best size. And they didn't realize that. They were going to let every single pumpkin set.
Oh, they won't get very big ones.
No.
Yeah, you have to do a Highlander thing. Only one survives.
Okay. So what else is going on at Nick's? You guys are still having your sale, right?
Yes, we. I was away last.
No, not
weekend.
Nick's. I'm sorry, Jared's.
It's okay. I
Jared's.
know, and they know too.
Okay.
I don't sound like Luann. Luann is much calmer than I am.
It depends on the moment.
That's true. Yeah, it's kind of freaky. My first day back after 6 days. Guess what we put out in the main garden center?
What's that?
We put out Christmas.
Oh, okay. You're trying to keep up with Hobby Lobby, are you?
Well, no, we're just trying to get everything out because since if and when we relocate, we don't want to have to pack all this stuff up.
Gotcha.
So we're putting everything out so everyone can shop whatever holiday gives them joy, whether it's the Halloween, which is like a big one for a lot of people anymore, and we have the Christmas out. So everything is like 40% off for the seasonal stuff. So if there was something they were jonesing for last fall and Christmas and they forgot, we might still have it.
Oh, that's cool. So
Yeah,
the possible relocation is still an if?
It is still an if because, much like, trying to sell a house, there's always the, yay, I'm under contract, and then there's the, oh, they walked away for whatever reason.
I gotcha.
So, we're kind of in that limbo thing, so we don't know whether we're here or there, so.
Well, that's
we're here
unsettling.
today. It is unsettling, for sure.
Yeah.
So, we just take each day at a time, and we, we're getting ready, putting the trees and shrubs on sale. So right now, our B&B trees and evergreens, 50% off. So those who don't know what a B&B is, that is a balled and burlap tree. So you have to have a fairly good sized vehicle to transport these 300 to 500 pound lovelinesses.
Yeah, because they're the bigger caliper trees. They're the 10, 12, 15-foot tall trees.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
That's jargon in our industry. Kind of flummoxes the
Yeah.
new gardeners of the world. So we have to be kind.
But you'll need to
And,
make sure that you have plenty. If you're gonna take these trees on your own, you want to make sure you have plenty of help once you get home to get the tree off the truck and to its planting location. Because, like you said, they could weigh 500 or 600 pounds.
Yeah, and that's not even terribly wet either.
Right. Exactly.
And
But you do have a planting service as well.
We don't.
You don't? Oh, okay.
But we have lists of some of our wholesale customers and some of our former employees who have retired or do things on the side that have good success rates on their planting.
Okay,
So
good.
We have lists and lists.
Good.
And then our little babies in containers where you get most of the root system, so they're usually a little easier to transport. They're 25% off.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, those are the big things. Other than everything seems to be out and on sale, trying to keep us from having to pack it all up.
There you
again.
go. Well, tell everybody where you're located.
We currently are at 10500 West Bowles Avenue, and that is between Kipling and Sims, down in the southwest corner of the Denver metro area.
All right. Well, thank you, Betsy.
You're welcome. Thanks for letting me call in.
Absolutely. Say hi to everybody for us.
We will. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, it's that time of year. Nurseries are switching over to the new holidays coming up. I know Nick's has their pepper roasting operation going in full swing, and roasted ears of corn, and you can get these wonderful sausage patty sandwiches with Big Jim peppers on them, or jalapenos, or potatoes. And
That sounds pretty good.
oh my goodness! And they're made to order, so
Yeah.
you can watch Beto at the grill making these sandwiches for you
And having a grand time.
and having a grand time. That's exactly right. But yeah, the nurseries are switching over. They're getting ready for fall. They're getting ready for Halloween, and then Christmas after that. So, and Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, I missed that one. I shouldn't do that.
Skip the one with the good food.
Yeah.
Tagawas, and I'm sure other nurseries are really shifting color palettes. So you're seeing the black-eyed Susans, you're seeing the beautiful kale, which gets better and better with colder weather.
Exactly. And the pansies.
Pansies, yeah.
And mums and
If-
asters.
If your containers need a little bit of a facelift, and who of us doesn't? Yeah, you don't have to pull everything out. Just pull out some things that are failing and give them, it's not that hard. And I would say that when I've done this before, I don't pull out the old plants, I cut them out.
Cut them out,
With
exactly.
an old knife, good,
Yeah.
a sharp knife, but an old knife.
Or a soil knife.
Yeah.
Like a hori.
Yeah, I
That
like
works.
it. I like them a little sharper to really actually cut those roots.
Yeah.
And you're cutting off some of the roots of the plants that are already there that you want to keep, but they'll grow right back.
Oh,
It's
yeah, they've
so
got
much
plenty.
Better than pulling. And then it's almost like you create a hole the size of what you want to put in, and you drop it in, and you're good to go.
And
So-
water it in.
And water it in, yeah.
I've done that with, I love Rudbeckias,
Mm.
the black-eyed Susans. And there's a few pots that I've taken some disappointing things out
Yeah,
and plopping in some new color.
yeah.
And it just revitalizes
It really does.
It doesn't take many plants to do that.
No,
Just a few, and the look changes, and it's just lifted, and it's hard to explain, I guess, but it really does help make a difference.
yeah.
And, this is the time of year for looking at the fall planting of vegetables, too. There are some quick, cool season crops that it's about time to start sowing, things like lettuce and spinach and radishes.
Twist chard.
Swiss chard, exactly. So those sorts of things you can either do from seed directly in the ground, or I think, let's see, as I recall, Nick's and a lot of the garden centers, I don't know if Tagawa's brings in starter plants.
You know, I haven't been there in a couple of days, so I'd have to go check on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at some point in the season, this fall, the garden centers will have starter plants of those cool season crops. If you're not comfortable doing direct sowing on your own, you can get 6 packs of lettuce or spinach or that sort of thing that you can plant out. And you don't have to plant them out into the garden, so to speak, because you may still have zucchini and cucumbers and tomatoes and that sort of thing taking up that space. You can put them in pots.
Yeah.
They grow beautifully in pots, those cool season crops.
So if you had a total container failure, it's an opportunity.
It is. So
Good, good.
there
Okay.
you have it. Let's see, looks like we have Anna on the line right now. Good morning, Anna.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's going on with you today?
Well, I have a linden tree that I'm concerned about, and I just sent you a bunch of pictures of it. I talked with Malachi on Thursday,
Uh-huh.
and basically he said to send you a bunch of pictures and call you. So that's what I'm doing.
All right.
But what it is that I just moved here about a year ago, and so this is really my first year with this tree. It's a big tree in the patio. It's probably in the neighborhood of 50 years old, and this year it dropped a tremendous amount of seeds
Yes.
in my patio. Okay, so I swept them up and I put them in my compost, but I'm a little bit concerned about it because the leaves on the outside have got that those brown edges, and I'm really concerned that is dying or something. 'Cause I know
It's
that-
drought. It's drought stress.
Leaf scorch.
Yeah, it's leaf scorch. It's primarily located, most of it's near the top of the tree, it looks like. What's on the ground around the tree? Is that all patio paved in?
Okay, not all of it is paved in. There is a big slab starting about 3 feet away from the tree where I've got my table and chairs and things like that, and then the rest of it is there is some dirt, some soil in my patio. It's probably maybe 6 or 8 feet from actually my house, from the foundation of my house.
Yeah.
It's in a townhouse. I live in a townhouse, and the drip line of the tree is either over my roof or some of it in that cement slab in my patio, and then the rest of it is out in the commons area. And so I have tried watering it with a very, like a soaker hose under it, but the drip line's out in the, I can't really water the drip line.
Yeah, I can see there's a fence there, and then the tree hangs over the fence, and then there's grass on the other side of the fence, and that grass looks a bit stressed as well. So if the grass isn't getting enough water, the tree isn't. So this is a protection mechanism the tree has to protect it from losing too much water. You're just going to have some scorch on that tree. Its root system is covered, like you said, with paving and the house up next to it and so forth, because it is fairly close to the house. If you can water outside the fence, that would help with a sprinkler. And that will help there. Those brown leaves are not going to turn green. You're just going to have an early leaf fall this fall. But try to water where you can, and water deeply. You can use a deep root waterer, or you can use a little frog eye sprinkler, something like that.
How about a soaker hose that just kind of runs all day?
I don't know that you need to run it all day, because those usually put out about 1 gallon an hour per foot of hose. So if you'd run it for a couple of hours and do that about every other week for the next month or so, that would help the tree tremendously.
And I wouldn't water just outside the fence, because a lot of those feeder roots are out as far as the tree is tall.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
so that's
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That most of the roots are probably out in the common area.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then the other thing is, on the other side of my fence, not my side, the other side, there's that wonderful landscaper's cloth and rock for about 3 feet around the fence.
Yeah.
That's on the side opposite. It's not in mine. It's on the opposite side, the commons area side. Yeah, so I'm sure that the roots that are under that aren't doing very well.
Yeah, that's where a soaker hose would do quite well, because it puts the water down very slowly, and that allows it to soak in through that landscape cloth and get to the soil. Whereas using a regular sprinkler, it might be putting the water down too quickly, and it would run off. Because that fabric does, even though it's water permeable, it does slow the penetration down.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that might be going on, and I can't tell from the picture, is Japanese beetles, which love linden trees. So,
I haven't seen any at all
good.
This year.
Good.
So I'm thinking that Japanese beetles aren't eating it.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, I've been surprised, because in the place I moved from had a lot of Virginia creeper, and I had a lot of Japanese beetles. Let me tell you. Yeah, but I haven't seen any this here.
Okay.
So
the photographs we're looking at is pretty typical. Just some scorch that's happening because the tree isn't finding enough water.
That generally won't kill it, when you're out.
No.
If you had this year after year after year, you might see some issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, this dropping needles or dropping seeds. I mean, is this something they will do
every year? Every year.
Yeah, it's profuse. I mean,
it is. Yeah.
Buckets full of it.
Yeah. Lindens can be fairly messy, especially when they're over a patio like that. They have those beautiful, wonderful smelling flowers in the spring, and that's always followed by seeds, and so they can create quite a mess in an enclosed area like you have.
Okay, well, I was concerned that maybe the tree was. I do know that a lot of times plants will do a lot of flowering and seeding right before they die, and that was one of the things that I was a bit concerned about.
Yeah, no, I don't think you have to worry about that. That tree's not going to die, but it
Okay.
will lose leaves early this year, especially toward the top.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I do really enjoy your show.
Oh, well, thanks you for calling this morning.
Have a good
Appreciate
weekend.
it.
Well, thank you, and have a good rest of your day.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
We need to rock and roll on some texts here.
Yes, let's see. What do we got? Oh, he's going to
Okay.
clean that up
Okay.
while we're.
I was just going to say, and I don't know that it's necessarily a problem, but she mentioned that she had a compost pile. And you can put a lot of things in a compost pile. You run the risk sometimes of having them sprout or whatever. If you put them in water and soak them first
Yeah.
in a bucket,
Uh-huh.
and then add them to your compost pile, they're not viable anymore.
How long do you soak them?
Just till you know that they're dead, rotten, a few days. It
A few
depends.
days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you throw seeds of anything, I mean, there are certain plants in my yard that once they go to seed, like the wild carrot, I love that plant, but it can be a real weedy issue. So when I cut that plant back, I don't put the seed heads in the compost pile because I know my compost doesn't get hot enough to kill the
Exactly.
seeds.
Yeah.
And I don't want them everywhere.
Yeah. You could put them in a bucket. I learned that
Yeah.
during my master composting
Okay.
classes. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Weed seeds are the same. I will not put
Yeah.
spurge or purslane or cheatgrass in my compost bin. They go in the trash can
Yeah. You
just
can-
because those seeds are so hard to kill. All right, so we're looking at a picture of a calla lily, and this calla lily is producing seed pods. And Jason would like to know if it's worth harvesting the seeds and planting them. Will the seeds produce plants with the same flower color as the original? And yes, it should produce the same, unless you have other colors of calla lilies in the general area where the bees could carry pollen from a purple one to pollinate the white one, then you might get different colors. But more than likely, if that's your only calla, then it's going to produce white calla flowers from the seedlings. But
But the seeds need to be mature.
seeds need to be mature, and you need to be really patient because it'll take several years for a seedling to get to blooming size
But what's you have to lose? Except your sanity.
and time.
That's true. Yeah, but
you gotta care for these things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just as simple as planting them and waiting. It's a lot of care through the winter. It's a lot of care through the summer.
and what would that care look like?
Watering and feeding and making sure it has the right amount of light. They need to go through a dormancy. There's a whole ritual
Okay.
that goes along with callas. So
How long would it take to sprout? Assuming you have a viable, meaning mature, at the point of drying out and falling off the
yeah,
plant.
you'll want to wait until those seed pods turn brown and start to split open, and that's when you collect the seeds. Put them in a paper bag or an envelope until you're ready to sow them. I would sow them as pretty much as soon as you can after you harvest them, and they should sprout in 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. And then you want grow lights.
And then under grow lights,
Yeah.
and you'll more than likely be able to keep them green and growing all winter long under grow lights. But even until next year, they're not going to be big enough to flower. Like I said, it'll take 2 to 3 years for them to get to flowering size. I started some eucomas, some pineapple lilies from seed, just because it sounded like fun.
Yeah.
I'm in the 3rd year now, and the plants are nice and big, but still no flowers. But I've put this much time in. I'm not going
You're
to.
committed.
Yeah, I'm committed.
Okay.
I'm going to have to see this through,
Yeah.
and hopefully I'm not disappointed by it when it does flower.
Gardening, parts of gardening just are an adventure,
Yeah,
Yeah. That's why I say, what do you got to lose? It's, you could be out drag racing or, I don't know, something, that's not as productive. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Good luck.
All right.
Let us know. Keep in touch
that's right.
if you do it.
All right, we got to hit a break. We're going to come back and hit some more of these text messages we have. We also have open lines, so give us a call here at 303-477-2473. We'll be waiting to see you show up on the screen right here on the GardenWise Show, Legends 810. All right, back to the GardenWise Show. And we've got Sammy on the line. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Keith. Good morning, Luann.
Good morning, my friend.
Have your ears been itching? We've been talking about you.
You know what? I must have missed a segment or two to do. I hope it was all good.
Oh yeah, we've had several text messages calling in asking about your contact information. So what's going on with you? This, by the way, for everybody else, this is Sam with Twin Oaks. So go ahead, Sam. What's going on with you?
Well, no, I heard you talking about the Thyronectria canker in the honey locusts, and what I have found, and some other industry peers have found, I like to use a growth regulator product to slow down some of that growth. You know, you never want to fertilize a tree with a bacterium like that. But what I like to do is do a trunk spray with a growth regulator. And I maybe have said this on the air before, so I apologize if I have. But I liken, the canker almost to like cancer, if you will, or diabetes. It's never going to go away, but there are some methods that we can take, whether it's most importantly watering. I've said this numerous times, a 10-inch tree needs 100 gallons of water a month, and watering and just, improving the tree's health with mulch or anything like that. But I just did a treatment yesterday for some trees that are just in a real terrible area. They're not being watered at all. Anyway, there are some products that myself or some other arborists in town can get for you. A growth regulator to kind of slow down some of that growth, some of that cankering.
Okay, that's good to know. I appreciate that.
Just saying. Yeah, you're very welcome. And I do probably have other callers, so I won't take any more of your time. Thank you so much.
Have a good weekend, Sam.
Bye-bye.
You too, Keith. Bye.
Bye. All righty, let's see here. We had someone call in or text in that says that their cardinal climber vine, which is an annual vine with brilliant scarlet red flowers and very ferny foliage, hummingbirds love it. So if you're looking for an annual vine, it doesn't get huge. It might get 6 or 8 feet tall at the most. But it's a beautiful thing. And like I said, these scarlet red trumpet-shaped flowers all over it.
Big flowers.
Big flowers. And then, yeah.
Good.
So that's something to look at. Cardinal creeper. Let's see. I've gone from 3 new bulbs of elephant ears and a bonus purple shamrock. What size is my next set of pots to move them to? And is there a need to be acidic? And I don't know what size pots they're in, but typically when you move them from one size pot to another, you don't want to go up more than about 2 inches.
Right. So the soil isn't staying wet without any root activity.
Exactly,
Drawing it
yeah.
out. Yeah.
Although elephant ears do like to use a lot of water, and they do have a very vigorous root system, but I wouldn't move them up too fast. And acidity is not an issue. You just use a regular potting soil. You don't have to worry about using an acidic potting soil. But they do like fertilizer. So if you want a lot of leaves and a lot of big leaves, fertilize with a higher nitrogen fertilizer.
First number.
The first number, that's right. And I like the water-soluble ones for the potted plants rather than the granules. I think the water-soluble fertilizers, whether it's a liquid you put in the water or a powder, are more readily available quicker to the plant.
They disperse throughout the pot. Yeah. Okay. Good.
All right.
What else?
Oh, let's see. Triumph. Let's see. Well, that looks like about all of them. Oh, no, there's more. There's more.
You're holding out on us, Sean.
Okay, this is Colleen in Timnath, has a candelabra juniper, which I'm not familiar with. It's very sad. It was doing great until last week when we had a strong wind and rainstorm that dropped 2.5 inches of rain in 15 minutes. My candelabra juniper took a beating, and I'm guessing it's got too much water. I got it from the tree farm this spring, and it was planted by a pro. The branch color is washed out, not blue anymore. That's not unusual. You can see from the photo that the branches are very brittle. What can you do to help survive? Let me see the picture of that, Sean. One heavy rain is not going to overwater a tree.
No.
Overwatering is caused by repeated applications of too much water too soon between waterings.
To where they never ever dry out.
Right, and so that takes time.
Yeah.
Not one single watering or event.
So the tips of the needles
looking
are
at that.
falling off.
Yeah, the tips are falling off. If those are brittle, they're still kind of bluish. I do see a lot of brown.
I don't know.
I'd like to see a bigger picture of the overall tree. This is just the picture we're looking at is just the very end of a small branch. There's more fingers in the picture than there are plant material.
I don't know that there's much she can do except wait it out and watch.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't water.
Yeah. Give the tree farm a call.
Yeah.
Explain to them what's going on. They may have some suggestions for you. But I'm not familiar with a variety of juniper called candelabra. So, I would check with the tree farm and see if there's something special about candelabra junipers that you're not addressing.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Colleen here again. This is my sky pencil Japanese holly. I have 3. The other 2 have been fine. This new growth at the base, please advise. And that one has a picture. Ooh.
Leaf scorch.
Yeah. That looks like they might be in too much sun.
Sunburn.
It's a holly. It's a Japanese holly. They like to be in a more shady location. If you're going to get any sun, it should be, morning sun, but protection from the really hot afternoon, midday type sun. They don't like that at all. But it could be leaf scorch from too much sun or getting too dry. I didn't really see. Can we see the picture again, Sean? I just want to double check. You deleted it. You're making moves in there faster than we can do it. I didn't really see any spider mite.
No, it didn't look
signs.
mottled. The leaves that I was noticing were the outer half, not the margin, but the entire outer half of the leaf was brown.
Yeah.
The inner half was green.
Yeah.
So it didn't. So I don't think it's an insect problem at all.
No. To me, it looked like a moisture problem and possibly combined with too much sun. Usually, when they're underwater, those brown leaves are going to be crispy.
Yeah.
So if you grab them, they'll crunch in your hand.
And scorch is just the margin.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Typically.
It's
Well,
really
scorch
pretty.
can be in the center of the leaf too,
That's
depending
true.
on
That's
the
true.
on the type. But with this holly, if those leaves are still soft, if those brown leaves are still soft and pliable, it could be overwatering.
Yeah. Although she said it looked good up until, a drenching storm. Was that the right color?
No, that was a different color.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
my brain's mush. Okay. Yeah, I just wait it out. And don't feed it.
Don't feed. You never want to feed a plant that is under stress. So, but it is a good sign that new growth is happening. So that means that your root system is still intact, and that's the most important thing. Let's see. Hi, Keith and Luann. I'm enclosing a picture of my lungwort plant that appears to be showing signs of powdery mildew. It's in full shade, watered 2 times a week for 20 minutes using an adjustable drip irrigation microspray emitter. Can you tell me what's wrong with the plant and a path forward? And this is from Rob, and I'd like to see that picture, please, Sean, if you're not still making moves in there. I see a clematis. I don't see a lungwort.
That's
one
the
there.
one. That one. That's all right.
Yeah, that is powdery mildew.
Yeah.
Not uncommon this time of year, especially in shady locations. Although, lungwort is also known as pulmonaria. Lungwort, what a horrible name for a plant. But it's a green leaf plant, kind of like a hosta. It's a green leaf plant with silver speckling or blotching or striping.
So some of the speckling that we saw there
was
natural.
Some of it was natural,
Yeah, but
yes.
there was a lot of it.
But there was a little bit of mildew on the couple of leaves that we saw. You can spray with a fungicide to stop it from spreading. This time of year, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
No. Some people say pick up the leaves. A few others say
yeah.
it's overblown
It's
therapy.
Yeah, it is overblown therapy. The spores for powdery mildew are much like the spores for bread mold. It's in the air.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you can pick up the leaves, but you still have it blowing in on the wind.
Yeah.
So you're never going to get rid of. It's a very opportunistic disease. It likes moisture. It likes shade. It likes wet foliage.
And if it's in an area where the air isn't circulating,
Yeah.
that makes it that much worse.
It does. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
So I always like to look at the cultural practices first when I'm dealing with a disease like mildew. And like you said, it needs air circulation. It needs to be planted in the right place. It needs to be watered correctly. And if you're doing all those things right, mildew shouldn't. I don't have any mildew on my lungwort, so I'm bragging there.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Noticed.
Yeah. And it's in a very moist area. But I water that zone in the just about daybreak.
Okay.
So
Let it dry.
so that it dries quickly. Once the sun is out, the foliage dries very quickly. If that zone is being watered at 2 o'clock in the morning and it stays wet the rest of the evening, the rest of that early morning into the sunny part of the day, then mildew can be an issue. Slugs can be an issue.
That's really a good policy for your garden in general,
Yeah.
to water to where you know it's going to be dry in a couple of hours.
Right.
Okay.
And then there are certain weather conditions you just have no control over, like with peonies, with lilacs. They're prone to mildew this
Mildew.
time of year because of the cool nights that we have after the warm days, and we have a lot of dew that sets on the leaves. And unless you're going to go out there with a cloth and dry the leaves off individually,
Hair dryer.
yeah, hair dryer, something like that, mildew is going to rear its ugly head on occasion. But this late in the year, it's just really not an issue.
Yeah.
And you'll see it on squash this time of
Oh,
year.
big time.
Big time on squash.
Yeah.
That those hairy leaves hold on to that dew or the moisture that you're putting on if you're doing overhead watering. Those hairy leaves hold on to that moisture on the surface. They don't let it run off. And then that just really is a great situation for mildew to get started. Now, some of the zucchinis have that silver mottling to the foliage, and that's natural.
Right.
Whereas the mildew is going to be white rather than silver. And the mildew can be somewhat wiped off, whereas
But not completely.
Not completely, yeah. Now there are sprays that you can use in the vegetable garden. Typically, they're copper-based for mildew and disease issues in the vegetable garden. And that's a natural product that will help with mildew problems happening like that. And then there are other fungicides that can be used in the ornamental areas to help the spread of mildew. But I always recommend, re-examine your cultural practices first. And once you get them all correct, then a treatment may be something you want to do to prevent it from happening the next year. But until you correct those cultural issues, if there are any, the disease is going to continue to be a chronic problem.
Exactly. Or plant something different there.
Or plant something different. Yeah, you can easily move the lungwort to a better drained area, an area that has better air circulation, something along that line.
Maybe, and you prefer transplanting in the spring. Either
Certain plants I do,
Yeah.
but a lot of plants can be transplanted in the fall. Dug up and moved, even divided in the fall
Sure.
and replanted, as long as you realize that now you've created a situation where you've taken an established plant and made it a non-established plant, which means you're going to have to winter water. It just requires more attention.
Yeah. You need to be winter watering anyway.
I think so.
There are a few things that do not benefit from some conscientious winter watering.
Yeah. Well, ice plant,
Yeah.
not so much.
Yeah. The succulents.
Yeah, the succulents, I would try to avoid winter watering those, but use your finger.
Yeah.
I mean, your index finger. I don't care which finger you use, really. To be honest, not everybody has an index finger. I know that, but use a finger, stick it in the ground as far as you can, and see what the moisture level's like. If it's dry, water.
Yeah.
If it's moist, leave it alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that simple.
I'm going to get a plug in before we go.
Yeah, please.
Ron, the lawn man at Tagawa's, is one of
Yes.
our garden advisors.
Uh-huh.
I was having a horrible time with our lawn, and Skip's from the East Coast, and you have to have a decent lawn, as best as possible. We have adopted a program of Revive every month,
Okay.
okay, and we also put down some humic, and it was like day and night.
Really?
Day and night. Yeah.
Did you use a dry humic acid
Yes,
or a
uh-huh.
liquid?
Do we? Yeah.
The granules?
Yeah, we
Okay.
actually you can mix it in with the Revive if you want to.
Yeah.
But it's still not the best of the best, but it's a whole lot better than it was.
Well, and with the cooler weather coming on
Yeah.
with fall and so forth,
Yeah.
all of our lawns
Yeah.
are going to start looking better.
Yeah. So.
So, there you have it.
Yep.
Well, I'm sorry that we're at the end of the hour already. We've got to get out of here because the music is going to play us out, and then the Fix-It Show is up next. So make sure you join us again next Saturday. We're here every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 o'clock throughout the year. The show is posted on podcasts, and you can check that out on my website, which is GardenWiseGuy.com. Until next week, keep your shovel sharp, be careful where you dibble, and as always, have fun out in the yard. Take care, be well, be safe. We'll see you next week.